Hello besties, welcome back to the channel. If you don't know who I am, hi, I'm Mavis Akhurst. In today's episode, I'll be talking about current things happening in Ghana when it comes to nurses, because every time nurses are going for demonstrations here and there. And then if you are sitting from afar, you will feel like, why are nurses always doing demonstrations? Why are their profession more important than the others? Because a lot of people always say this, a lot of people always argue with me. Even my friends argue with me one way or the other that why do nurses feel as if they are more important than the others? Why? So in this video, I'm coming to explain my point of view or my experience about nursing. Even though right now I haven't gone that far in nursing, I just want to share my opinion. So please don't feel offended if I talk about maybe a profession or an institution or something. Don't feel offended about that, because I'm just sharing my opinion. So this is a quick disclaimer. I am just creating awareness for the people who are aspiring to become nurses one day, and then people who do not know anything about nursing. That is what this video is about. So don't come for me. Let's start. Now with nursing, everybody in Ghana knows that nursing is a government work. Like, it's part of a government profession. They are being catered for by the government. That is what most of us know. And then we all know that the military, the police, the navy, the immigration, all of them too are all part of the government works, or they are all civil servants, because teachers and the nurses are the same people. Yeah. Even though we all have different jobs, but then we are all under the same umbrella. So now let's talk more about nurses, because that is who I am and that is the profession I am in. Okay, so in nursing, before you start, you would go and buy nursing training forms, which is 200 cedis or 150 cedis. Now, after you buy the nursing training forms, you will also go and do interview. Now, you go for the interview and then you pay interview fee, which is 150 cedis or 200 cedis. Now, we are going to school for a maximum of 3 years for diploma, 4 years for degree, or 2 years for certificate. That is how nursing is. Well, when we come to the soldier and then the police, the navy, they also buy their forms. They go for the medicals and those things, and then they also go for training for 6 months. So the police or the soldiers, they go for their training 6 months, and then they pass out, and then they are posted to their locations or their stations. Fine. Now, when we talk about the nurses and then the teachers, they also go for training for 3 years, as I stated earlier, respectively. They all go for their training. Okay, fine. So now let's talk about life of being a student nurse before we go to the rotation nurse, before we go to the staff nurse. Now, life as a student nurse is that you'll be paying school fees. Now, with the school fees, if you are somebody who is like taking care of yourself, you are the one paying everything. And then if you are somebody who is being taken care of by your parents, the parents are the one paying everything. So you pay your school fees, and the school fees, some school pay as high as 9,000 per semester. The 9,000 includes their hostel and more things. That makes 9,000. While some schools still pay separate, and by the end of the semester they are paying like 5,000. Let's add it. If a school is paying 9,000 per semester, and then at the end of the year the person is paying 18,000 the whole year for the diploma students, and then I learned that the degree people too, some of them pay 16,000 per year, and this person is not being taken care of by the government or nothing. But we all know that nurses are part of the civil servants. Now, if you don't have money, that means that you'll be in debt whilst you are in school. And now, allegedly, people feel or people see it as if that when you are a student nurse, when you are wearing your uniform, it means that you are being paid by the government. But then, you are not being paid by the government. You are being given some small allowances. The allowances doesn't come the way people see it. When you are now going inside the nursing field, you feel as if, oh, I'll get money every month to pay maybe the debt I owe or something. But whilst you are schooling, it doesn't even come that way. The student allowances comes maybe once in maybe 2 years, comes once maybe in a whole year, and then that is it. We don't even rely on the allowances. Now people will say that why is it that nurses are taking allowances from the government, yet they are complaining? They are very greedy, they are very selfish people. Even teachers are not complaining and those things. It's because teachers get their allowances on time. I have a friend who is a teacher. The time we were in school, she got her allowances back to back. But with nursing, we weren't getting allowances. For instance, I got my allowances in level 300. And as a student, you will also be going for clinicals. Please note. Now, the clinicals you are going for, you are also using your own money to pay for the clinicals, like the transportation. And if you go to the hospital too, some of the hospitals may demand you to bring some glove and some other items which you are not even aware of, or like you've not even prepared yourself to pay. Remember, when we are now going to start our clinicals, we are asked to bring glove and then tea rolls and those things. I wasn't even aware. I didn't plan of that. But if you don't have money, that means that you can't pay all those things. If you have money, you can pay that. In nursing, people feel as if, oh, okay, whilst you're a student, whatever you do, you get the money back. But no, it's just like university. Universities programs, some of them are more of like private sectors, because with them, they are not being paid any allowances whilst they are going to school. And then when they complete and then they start their national service, now they are being paid by the government during their national service. But with nurses, people see it as if that whilst you are going to school, you are being paid your allowance, and when you complete school too, and then you start your service, you also get another allowance. Then that means that you are wicked. No. Now with nursing, we have degree and then diploma. With the degree sector, they don't get any allowance. They are just like university people who are not getting any allowances. And then with the diploma sector, we have people who will be getting some, whilst people will not even get it till the 3 years, like they are done. Okay. Now, when you complete school and everything, you start your national service. You pay 696 for the results when your results are out. And then with the national service, you pay 41 cedis as well. Now, calculate it. Whilst you are being in school, you are paying a huge sum of amount during the 3 years and then 4 years. And when you are done too, you start the reality of nursing, which will take you 1 year. Now, according to the government, they are saying we have to go for 11 months. But then the hospitals sometimes let you go for the whole 12 months. Okay. Now with the whole 12 months, as diploma nurses, you are not being paid any money that whole 12 months. So if you are somebody who is broke, if you are somebody who doesn't have any money, that means that you can't be going for the service every time, because the money wouldn't be coming. You will not get any money from anywhere. But for the degree students, they are being paid by NSS. So every month they'll be getting their national service money. That is the difference. With nurses or diploma nurses, we are being paid by Ministry of Health. So whilst you are going for the 1 year, you are not being paid. If this person goes to school for a whole 3 years and then completes and still doesn't have any money, that person will be running in debt. That person will be running in like a lot of crisis here and there. Now that is where the demonstration is all about. Because as a rotation nurse right now, I'm not being paid. I'm doing a job where I'm not being paid. If, let's say, I don't have parents who are helping me to go for the service, I don't have money for that. I would be paying transportation, what to eat. I'm paying all of that. And then if I go to work as well with an empty stomach, I'll still take care of the patient. You will be paid the following year. And then with the following year, it doesn't necessarily mean that after you are done with the service, you are getting your money instantly. You are not getting the money instantly. It takes a maximum of maybe 4 to 6 months, 8 months crack. So if you don't have money and then you have rented a place, you are waiting for the government to give you the money, my sister, I'm sorry. You will not get any money from anywhere unless the 6 months after the 1 year elapses before you start getting the back pay of your old allowances. That is how it is. So if a person who is a military person has completed the 6 months already, has been paid by the government, they wouldn't come and do any demonstration. But for nurses, since you are going for 3 years, you are going to do your service as well, and then people know you as a government worker, because military and then nurses are all government workers. Teachers are also government workers, but then the teachers and the nurses are not being treated well, because we all know that teachers teach, nurses save life, and if a soldier goes for war and the soldier gets sick, the nurse will come and take care of the soldier for the soldier to get healthy, to go and fight war for the country. So it works one hand in hand. It doesn't mean that nurses are more important than the others. So I know most nurses have 2 jobs, others have 3 jobs, side hustles to support them, because the government doesn't give us any money whilst you are even doing your service. As a nurse, if you don't have money, you can't say that I don't have money, so I can't go to work. You would have to go to work, because whilst you are going to work, they are writing down the evaluations. You are also signing your logbooks and those things for the government to know that you have worked with your empty stomach or that 1 whole year before they give you your money. Now, in military, I learned that they have uniform allowances where the uniforms is being sold by the government and then they are being given to them. But with nurses, you are buying your own school uniform. It's just like school, SHS. Because of the training there, you are going to school for 4 years, you are going to school for 3 years. If we had removed the training from there and say nurses are also going for training for 6 months, I don't think they'll be doing these things here and there. Another thing why nurses also do demonstration is that as a nurse, when you get sick, the government doesn't take care of you like the way a soldier gets sick or a police gets sick. They have their hospitals allocated for them. As a nurse, when you get sick, you don't have any hospital allocated for you. You are going to be at the hospital you are being stationed at, and then that place, when you get sick, you would pay the bills just like a patient. That is what I know. And that is like what I'm seeing from afar. Because even for rotation nurses, when we get sick, we pay. We pay our thing. But people see us as full band nurses. People see us as nurses. That is another issue which is causing people to go for strike. So they don't have uniform allowances as well, because we buy our own uniforms. We also pay our bills just like regular people. We also don't receive our allowances like the national service allowances, not the students' allowance, the national service allowances. Nurses don't receive it like monthly, we receive it 1 year later. So 1 year later, if you are broke, you remain broke to the 1 year later. And how can I go to work with an empty stomach for a whole year? Just put yourself in this situation. Let's say a patient has been sent to the theater. Now the theater nurse would take care of the patient, and then the patient will be sent to the recovery unit. With the recovery unit, you'll be checking patient's vitals every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes. You are checking every 1 hour, you'll be checking every 4 hours, you'll be checking. And imagine if you're somebody who hasn't eaten or you don't have money, you would even collapse and become a patient one day. That is how it is. So the truth of the matter is that the monies aren't coming fast like the way people see it, because you see it as they are government workers, but they are not being paid. Another issue for the demonstration too is poor working conditions. Yes, as a nurse myself, when I go to the hospital and then I see that we don't have gloves, we don't have medical buckets here and there, we are lacking a lot of like medical equipment, a lot of medical things. It's like brings like fear. at times, because if you are going to a patient and then you are going to take care of a patient who has a cut, or the patient has been like sawed with blood or whatever, you going to the patient without a glove cram, you are afraid that maybe the patient might infect you with HIV. Because in nursing, we assume that everybody is a carrier of diseases. That's how we see it. So with nurses, you go to work for 8 hours and then 12 hours shifts. You are going to take care of a patient. You are going to carry the patient. We are there to save life. We are there to protect in our own way. We are making sure that strangers get the maximum treatment they need. We are also there to like make sure that people stay alive to come back to their families. That is how it works. So with the poor working conditions, I would say that the shift is part, because you stress so much when you are at the ward. You'd be like running errands, going back and forth to protect or save a patient. Another thing is the equipment too there are so bad. And then the postings, when let's say a nurse is posted to a location as well, maybe the location he or she has been sent to, they don't have anything at a facility. It makes the work very, very difficult and then stressful as well, because you are going to take care of human beings and you are going to be carrying patients. We bath patients, we brush their teeth, we feed patients, we do a lot of things for the patients just so that the patients can be healthy once again. That is how nursing is. So the poor conditions is so frustrating as well, because we lack so many things as nurses in our like facilities. Even though we are all part of the government workers. Yeah. And then another thing is the delayed postings. And then another thing which also triggers the nurses to go for strike is also that the comparison from the other professions with nurses. That is also making them go for strike as well, because people compare nurses to teachers with a whole lot as well. That is also another problem, which also leads to the strike and demonstrations here and there. Okay, so my final disclaimer is that I am not here to attack other programs. I am not here to attack any institution or the government. I am just here to help the aspiring nurses or people who are like interested in nursing, or people who do not have any idea about nursing, to know the reality behind everything when you see them doing the demonstrations here and there. I just want you all to have a little idea that this is what I'm getting myself into. This is the program itself. This is what, if let's say I don't get money from the government or I don't get paid, I wouldn't like complain. And then if you also think that nursing is the one-stop shop for you, that after you get admission, it simply means you are getting paid instantly. My sister, it's not like that. It is a long-term journey. And people say the reward is in heaven, but we all know that God passes his blessings through humans to come to you. That is how I see it. Yeah.